Some other news, transfer portal. Did we mention Grayson McCall yesterday?
I don't think so.
Grayson McCall, Coastal Carolina had a lot of success under Jamie Chadwell. He's in the transfer portal, Craig. Just came down probably about 1 o'clock. DJ Uiagalelei, he is in the transfer portal. Now, he is deciding whether to go pro or come back for another year. He's waiting on his report from the NFL on what he's going to do, but he will be in the portal if he does choose to come back and available for anybody. Now, you can put 2 and 2 together and guess where he might wind up, and I would say that Michigan State not having a quarterback on the roster and their coach being Jonathan Smith leads you to believe that maybe he would go there if he comes back to college. But I don't know. He had a good year at Oregon State. Things really worked out for him there. It looked like he kind of bounced back off of the negativity that followed him out of Clemson. So we'll see what happens with DJU.
Yeah, he'll be immediately eligible, even though this is his second time to transfer. So, yeah, if you're going to be on the move, then following the guy who you had a lot of success with this past season and who you went to Corvallis to play for would make a lot of sense. That would be, great news for Michigan State. Obviously, that would raise some questions. But in general, when about their current roster, but in general, when you're changing head coaches, that there's going to be some roster disruption. So, yeah, I wouldn't be surprised at all to see Jonathan Smith bring DJU along and just kind of keep that up just in a different location. So, yeah, big name there in the portal. Was very happy to see him go and have the success that he did at Oregon State, given how rough the ending there was in Tuscaloosa, or at least appeared to be. So, yeah, that was a great story this season. That whole run by Oregon State, which is not quite yet over because they have a bowl game to play in, but for all intents and purposes is pretty much over. The Jonathan Smith part is, at least. That was one of the better stories in college football this year. But, yeah, Grayson McCall, the quarterback position, here's the thing. They haven't even fully opened the portal yet. This is just guys that can, just move on now and graduated and whatnot. But, come next week, that thing is going to be just the floodgates open, and everybody else gets to join the party. And so we're already seeing what a 12, 15 deep quarterback class already developing here with the various guys that have thrown their names into the hat. And we were talking about this the other day, but if you're like Blake Shapen, who it was a very weird reaction by Baylor fans, because I guarantee 70% of the people who hated on him the most were suddenly like, Aranda loses Shapen now, can't do anything right. I swear those are the same people in most cases. But, he jumps in the portal, and my first thought was, that's great, but let's see who else jumps in there as far as what his options may be, because, you were like, well, what about Wake Forest? And Wake Forest, maybe that's a landing spot for him, but not if there's 20 other quarterbacks that are higher ranked than him when all is said and done. And I think it's fair to say that he just dropped a couple spots behind DJU and Grayson McCall at least. So, best of luck to him. But, yeah, that's a crowded pool that's only going to get more crowded. Dante Moore from UCLA also announced that he's entering the transfer portal.
He becomes probably the second most sought-after one after Riley Leonard, although Riley Leonard reportedly had do not contact on his, meaning that he has decided where he wants to go. Mm-hmm. So, or he's decided where he wants to visit, and if you're not those places, then don't call. So he's in the portal as a do not contact. And most people think he's going to Notre Dame, but I do think Auburn is in the water for him a little bit.
Sure.
I think Auburn's going to be in I thought they got down the road a little bit on Grayson McCall last year, and then he took his name out of the portal. So here are but Dante Moore was the number one quarterback in the recruiting class a year ago. This is very similar to Justin Fields being in it. Although he did not have the kind of he was okay this year at UCLA when he played. He wasn't.
He was a freshman. He was a freshman. He's got talent, but he very quickly was very much a freshman. And Garbers eventually ended up replacing him. But he's a guy who was committed to Oregon. He flipped to UCLA. He was a big deal, number 2 overall prospect, big time. Player, and it was very hit or miss, with Chip Kelly last year, to the point of, eventually not even being the guy there at the end of it. But, I wonder if, some of the teams that were hanging around him the first time will be hanging around him again. Now, A&M was heavy on him the first time, but is that different now, though, that it's Mike Elko? But if you need a quarterback, I mean, there's another guy. Yeah, absolutely. There's another guy that Chapin goes behind, and I don't want to focus just on him, but just saying, like, it's crowded, and that there's going to be a long list of players, and you better, be smart about that decision, because it might not end up as great as you think because of how crowded it's gotten. But yeah, Dante Moore, that's an interesting one, and we'll see what kind of attention he gets right away. But he had some good moments. You see the talent. It's just it wasn't quite there and ready to rock right away as a true freshman there for Chip Kelly.
Yeah, I'll throw out okay, we already mentioned Riley Leonard, Moore, DJU, all in the portal, as is Will Howard, Grayson McCall, we mentioned him. Gary Bohannon's in the portal. Noah Kim from Michigan State's in the portal as the more recognizable name.
Look, somebody from Texas like Malik Murphy may very well end up there.
Tyler Van Dyke from Miami's in the portal. Hank Bachmeier, who's been at Boise State and Louisiana Tech. You might recognize the name. Will Rogers from Mississippi State in the portal. KJ Jefferson is in the portal. He's one. He's an interesting one to me. He has had moments, and Garrett, I know you've watched him several times. Yeah. He has had moments where he looks like, holy cow, who is this dude? And then he's had times where Arkansas has not been very good. So I'm not sure what to make of him, but I do think that he will wind up in a place where people might go, oh, because he has the upside of him, especially as a veteran quarterback, is I think, pretty high.
No, it is. I think that there's a lot of places that'd be good fits for him. I think when that first happened initially, most people probably thought TCU, right? Like go back and reunite with Kendall Browse or whatever. But no, he's an interesting fit. Maybe Mississippi State would work for him too. Like I don't know, man, but somebody's going to get him good.
Yeah, he's my top 5 later on is top 5 fits for some of the portal quarterbacks. DJU happened afterwards. I'll just say fit for DJU is Michigan State. If you can rewind the show later on, if you're like, oh, he left that out, but he hadn't put his name in the portal yet, so I didn't put him in there. But I did throw some names on there, and KJ Jefferson is one of them. So there's a lot of interesting things going on right now. Dante Moore hadn't happened yet.
Well, and he won't officially till Monday, but that's where all the arrows are pointing. So yeah, there's a lot of stuff already going on, and like I said a few minutes ago, come Monday, that thing's really going to bust open, and we'll get the official entries, and that's going to be wild to sort through, but a lot of fun too.
Yeah. Dante Moore picked UCLA over Oregon. Oregon took Austin Novosad, who had been committed to Baylor, but Oregon is not going to have Bo Nix next year. So, and I think part of the reason that maybe he started to swing back the other way was, Bo Nix, there was a time where people thought like, oh, he might go to the NFL, but that was never really going to happen. He's going to the NFL this year. So, I wouldn't be surprised to see Oregon back in the water for him completely if he was already well down the road with them last year. So yeah, just tons of and we haven't even really gotten there's some other guys, skill position players in the portal, like Rayleigh Brown from USC was a 5-star receiver that was their plan was to redshirt him. They redshirted him, and he's leaving USC to go somewhere else. Like he would probably be the biggest name in recruiting circles to be in the portal, but there's not a lot of other guys like offensive linemen, like those guys haven't really started to trickle out. Right now it's the quarterbacks because they also know that those are the spots that fill up quickly, and going like Matt Rule, he let the secret out on how much it costs. So
I mean, I don't know how much of a secret it really was, but I
he's
think
the first one to really say it.
Yeah, because I think he looked at the sticker price of what he's about to go buy, and he was shocked by it. That's why, because he's now getting the taste of it being back in the game, and I think he was just speaking out loud of oh geez, we've been scanning the aisles here, and we realized that we're going to need to pony up $1.5 million at least for a quarterback, because Lord knows they need a quarterback up there in Lincoln, Nebraska right now. Had some admirable efforts there, but certainly an area where they can improve.
Look, if you ask them, what would you rather have, a quarterback or would we could stop collecting trash for a year? They're like, look, we can deal with trash.
Yeah.
We'll do it ourselves. Come on. They'll take the quarterback for sure. By the way, thank you on the chat room. Who told me? Boomer Lee, MJ Morris from NC State decided to redshirt at the end of this year, and now he's in the portal. So MJ Morris from NC State, another guy who started some games. I believe he started 4 games, then decided to redshirt because he could have do that because you can play 4 games and then redshirt. So he is in the portal as well, and he'll be out there. And he helped get NC State's season kind of back on track. Before he redshirted, they turned back to Brandon Armstrong, the transfer from Virginia.